Hello, hello, hello. We are live. KitaPMusic Sessions OneOff, Sunday, May 23rd, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, happening now. Money Talk, a discussion with creatives. Thank you for joining us. What's the echo? I hear it playing back.
I don't hear it.
I don't hear
Okay.
it. Yeah, I can't. I don't hear it. I don't hear
Well, I see
Yeah.
it. Well, anyway, welcome. There's the three of us. So it's just the three of us at the moment, but we will be joining. I'll have others join us, but welcome everybody.
Welcome. What's up? Hello. Hello.
My name is Kita P, and you can find me at KitaPMusic.com. And I have some special guests on the line with me, Apache Brown and Precious Gorgeous, and they're also fellow artists. I'm a singer-songwriter and event curator. And I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. Apache, of alphabetical order.
Alrighty. My name is Apache of the Apache Brown Band out of Brooklyn, New York. I'm also a singer-songwriter, guitarist, player, curator as well. We do an awesome open mic every Thursday evening. I also have a band, and we also perform live around Brooklyn and upstate. And yeah.
All right. Yeah, and I'm Ralph Jean
Precious.
Pierre. Yeah, I'm Ralph Jean Pierre, also known as Precious Gorgeous. I'm a rapper, songwriter also from Brooklyn. I'm also I'm an actor. I'm a comedian. I'm a teacher, and I try to perform as much as I can, whether it's music or acting or anything. I just came off the road. I was living in a van for 6 months in the middle of the pandemic, performing, doing little outdoor shows on the street with my girlfriend, who's a stand-up comedian. Doing little shows on the road. So I just came back from that.
Awesome. I have a huge delay on my end, so after a sentence is over, it's still going. So I apologize. I may have to like log off and come back in. But we do have someone else we're going to add to the thing. It's Mandela Eskia.
Woo!
Hey, Mandela.
Hello.
So I'm going to let Mandela introduce themselves and welcome to the KitaPMusic Sessions, the OneOff Money Talk, and we're going to have a real discussion. So I'm going to hop off really quick, but I'm going to log right back on.
Okay. What am I doing? I'm talking about who I bees.
Yes.
Yeah, introduce yourself.
I bees in the trap. Mandela Eskia. I'm a rapper, songwriter, creator from Harlem, New York. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm born and raised in Harlem. I make music. I just put out some music, and I'm continuing to make new music and release it. So that's all I got. I didn't know if there's specific questions, but that's all I got.
No, that's fine. That's perfect. I found the issue. I actually was playing the YouTube as I was
That'll do
listening,
it.
so it was a bit of a delay. But no, thank you for
Oh,
introducing yourself. And we also have somebody who will be joining us. She's in the green room right now, Kiana Major. And I just want to preface this conversation. It's very low bar, low capacity, but I really wanted to get things going. On my end, I moved from New York after 16 years back to Pennsylvania with my family, and it's been one of the best decisions in my life. But one of the I have moved for a myriad of reasons. And one of the reasons was due to money. I needed to save for my future, and I just didn't feel as though that was possible for me in the way I was living in New York City as a creative. And I also work full time. And so, with that being said, I just thought about it and I've been thinking about my relationship with money and how I feel about, the emotions that are attached to it and the situations I find myself in. And Yeah, and so I wanted to bring this conversation, and also why this is called a KitaP Sessions, the OneOff, because I used to do KitaP Sessions, and it used to be singer-songwriter and really talking about the development of an actual artist. So I wanted to I have all these ideas, so I just decided to do a one-off. And so, who knows if I'll do this idea again, but there may be another type of one-off under KitaPMusic Sessions. And so once again, thank you for joining me. And the question on the table and the format that we'll do this is I'm going to give you guys some like 3 to 5 minutes to just say your piece, and then we can have an open discussion once you answer this question. And you could take your time with it. I think it's a very personal question, but as creators, I was wondering, like, what is your relationship like with money? In like how does it operate in your world? And I can start off by just saying, for me, at times, I wouldn't say often, I mean, I wouldn't say all the time, but at times, for me, the relationship I have with money is fear, whether I have money coming in or not. It's just like it's a fearful relationship. And it's also, I I blame money, but it's not the way to operate. But I do blame money sometimes in situations where I can't move my art forward. If that makes sense, I feel stuck, and I'm like, well, if I had this much money, I could just do this and get it over with. And hey, Diggs in the house. And so that's what I wanted to start with. And I didn't actually go into my whole spiel, but I will go in alphabetical order if that's cool. We got Apache. We got Apache up top. And if you don't mind, what is your relationship like with money as a creative? And also, if you're okay with telling people this, do you work full time? You don't have to tell us what you do. Do you work full time?
I do work full time. I am a 9 to 5 musician, is what I like to say sometimes. But my relationship with money is exactly that, a relationship, and it encompasses everything aspects that you just named. Fear, sometimes it's fun. It's a relation of duality. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you want more, sometimes you only have less. But overall, there's something I think I'm still working on, is just managing it. Because if I realize if time is money, money is time, right? The less I'm worrying about money, the more time I have, the less I feel I have to create and not worry and have that enter my mental space. And we need our mental clarity and mental space, mental health, in my opinion, to be creative as you can be. And the less I have to worry about things, especially money, the more I'm able to create. But then there comes the duality again, because sometimes not having money and being stressed will lead me to create something out of that. I can use that energy and use that to create as well. So it's a relationship, exactly the way you title the show. That's what money is to me. It is a relationship, and it's a task of managing it and everything that comes with it, with that relationship.
Cool. Thank you for sharing. I think Mandela goes next. Mandela. Alphabetical
Um,
order.
um, my relationship with money is ever changing. Before, my relationship with money is more like your relationship, Kita, like very fearful and afraid that I didn't have enough, or I can't do stuff because I don't have this amount of money and this costs this and this and this and that. And then also being fearful to ask for money for certain tasks. Um, being afraid that I won't get the task or whatever like that. My relationship to money now is a bit different because I'm a little bit more understanding of how important it is for what I'm doing. And it's okay to be like, look, man, you want me to do this in this amount of time, this is my rate, so that has become, I've been getting better at that. So I would say not as fearful as it used to be. And I'm not as worried about, oh, I don't have this much money to do that, or I can't use this money right now, I got to try and budget it. Now I'm more like, well, I need this money to do this, so I'm just gonna set aside this money and do this. And it's like I'll get more money. Like there's other ways to get money, and I'll figure out, other ways if I really need it. And and I've built my repertoire to a point where it's like, there are people who will reach out, but they won't reach out if they don't have money. So that's good. So I would say my relationship is a lot more powerful than it used to be. Still, fearful in some ways, but a lot more powerful in the
Thank you for sharing. Thank you guys for being so honest. We got Precious on the line. What's your relationship like with money? And also, really quick, Mandela, do you work full time? Like through your artistry, have you work full time or maintain other sources of income?
Yes, I don't work full time. I teach 3 days out the week on Zoom. I teach rap to elementary school kids. And before then, when there was like more opportunities, I was in a middle school and then also in elementary school. So I would teach in the mornings and then I would go teach in the afternoons. So it's still art related, which is cool. So I'm still teaching hip hop and still teaching music. So yeah.
It's dope.
Mm.
All right, Precious.
Let's see. This is a definitely a hard question for me to answer. I think my relationship with money is a little bit uh, reckless and irresponsible. um, just because, I mean, God, I don't even know how to answer this question. I feel like with money, here's the my relationship with money has always been this, and it's getting better as I'm getting older because I'm able to command higher pay and better jobs. But basically, my relationship with money my entire life has been, oh, I want to do this project. I'm going to throw all my money at this project, and then just see where it goes. And and I've just always done that. I've never really been good at knowing anything about investing or saving. If I save, I just immediately put that money towards something I want to do, a project I want to make, or a class I want to take. And I don't know. I feel like that has different results all the time. Sometimes really good. Sometimes I feel like it's gonna be really good, but it'll take a while. It'll come down the pike. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I'm fearful around it, and that might be to my detriment. I'm a very big you can't take it with you person. You know, I'm very big on I'm a person who, like, if I get a check from work or if I get paid from work, I just put it in my pocket. I don't even check how much is on the check. If I buy things at the store, I don't even check how much it costs. I just buy things. And I'll pay if I can afford it at that moment. I'll pay the price for the best thing. Like, I mean, I'm like, what's the best version of this? I'm gonna buy it now, because I'm just like, I don't want to pay for it more later. And I don't know. I don't know if that's been good or bad for me, because there's a lot of things I haven't been able to do that I wanted to do that I've been barred from because of money. But it's also forced me to be a lot more creative. And there's a lot of things I have wanted to do that I was able to do because of
Right.
the way I was spending money. So I really, I don't know if I'm gonna be much help.
No, it's actually very helpful. It's the reason, like I said, I brought you lovely folks together is just to have this conversation, because as a creative myself, I do struggle with my relationship with money, and I think it hinders me. And like I said, I blame money sometimes for the things that I don't get right away in my creative endeavors. And then also, I have this, and I don't want to come off so negative. That's also why I wanted to have this conversation, because I figured other people would have different perspectives on this on a personal level. But I, there are times where currency and having money would just be what it like it would just work for the moment, and I don't have it. And then I have those moments too where I've invested so much money into one song, one song, like, and I think a lot of people on the outside, they don't understand, how much money, they're streaming it, but they don't understand, like, their $10 a month or whatever, that goes to that goes that doesn't necessarily go to us as the artist, but we could spend with visuals and everything in just one track. We could spend like upward of $1,300, getting it mastered the way we want, spending 10 hours of our time, or, maybe 30 hours of our time building one track. And it doesn't even it doesn't even give you, you have no gain off of that. You may get $100, but you have to do other stuff like sell merch, and do all these other things as an artist that I wasn't necessarily prepared for. I mean, I'm doing it now, but I wasn't necessarily prepared for it because as a young artist, I just was like, I can sing. I just want to sing. I just want to continue. Patty did it for years and years, so like why can't I just do it? But she also sells her pies. Like I noticed that everybody has a side gig, even if they're a superstar. They always have something else going on, and so that's when I realized I needed more than one revenue stream. And I do work full time, but my goal is to transition and work for me. But I was
I
my
realized
next.
I didn't answer that question myself. I don't know if you would call what I do full time. I'm a teacher.
Yeah,
I'm a
you work.
professor. Yeah, so I guess I just teach my classes, and then I try to pick up extra classes to teach um, different places. But right now I'm a professor, so I teach 2 to 4 classes a term, 2 to 3, 2 to 4. I don't know, 2 and 3.
But you're able to manage, right? With everybody here who has a day job and has something else going on, you're able to manage and use that money, some of it, not all of it, because you need to live, to invest in your art and to take it to the next level.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That took a long time for me to get to that point.
And so actually that brings me to the next question when it comes specifically to your art, and what you do and what you create and put out in this world. Do you guys ever have do you have you did you ever reach a moment where you're like, oh, I've actually made some real money off of my work? Like, was there a time where you're like, wow, I can do this? Like, I've had those moments, but it's not necessarily consistent.
Yeah.
But can you name a specific time and what that did for you when it came to your movement forward and your thought process about how to manage your money? Oh, yeah, I can let anybody go. Anybody can go if they.
Um, I feel like I can. I feel like I can go ahead and answer. Shout out to, I don't know who you are, but Diggs227.
That's my
Whoever they
sister.
are, oh,
Shout
okay.
out.
She's been super engaged, so I just want to shout her out. And Alana, the I guess for me the clearest example, I have two really, which was about, let's say, about 6 years ago. This never happened to me before, but my dad somehow came into a bunch of money and gave me 5 grand. This was like, here, have 5 grand. And never anything like that ever happened to me before. And immediately I knew, I was like, there's a clown program that I want to be part of, and it costs like $3,000. And I just immediately blew it on that. Just immediately. I didn't even think about it. And I took that clown program and it was great. And then it wasn't immediately obvious like what would come out of that. But now, 4 or 5 years later, there was I stayed around the clown community, and there was an opening at Brooklyn College where I teach for a clown teacher. And because I had taken that clown class, I had been selected the summer before to also enroll in their first clown teaching program to teach people how to teach clown. And I was eligible for that because I'd already taken the clown class. So I took that, and then I was qualified when the school needed a clown teacher. So now that kind of tripled my income. And then the other thing is, I spent all these years like taking improv and going to expensive art school, and the money I made wasn't nearly enough to cover that. But just being around all this stuff all these years, not making any money being around it. But this past spring, I was on a TV show and a web show where I made like almost 5 grand just being on that show, just because I was qualified to do it because of the years I'd spent not making money, learning to do improv, hosting things. I feel like I have a couple of these stories actually, but those are two I have.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah. Does anybody have a similar or a specific story of theirs?
So what, a story where you made what, a lot of money? What was it?
Where you won the lottery. No, no, where you know, you finally made like a substantial amount of money from your work, your art, your creative endeavors. Like I have, there was a time, I think it was here, yeah, during I think one of the festivals I did. I was like, wow, I can really do this. Oh, actually, I actually did a private gig in Atlanta, and the organization flew me out there. They paid for me, paid for everything. I was there for 2 nights. And that is one of the moments where I was like, I could really get paid for this. I'm pretty unique. I mean, I know a lot of people sing, but I have something going on that they wanted me.
Gotcha. So I guess with the Apache Brown Band, we've had. I mean, I don't know if I can. We haven't had that moment yet. I mean, I can't use that as a measure of success or not. But we have had growth. We've gotten to a point where I'm able to, right? Because being a band leader as well, you're managing funds and income for everybody. So we have gotten to a level where each person in our band has went home with a significant amount of money. Is it something that we all can make a living on and do this? If we really got on the grind like that and could do that, maybe we could. But it's definitely a situation where we started. We were doing, like you said, for free. We just love to play. We want to play. But we haven't even gotten to a point, I think, where we break even yet as a whole, as much money as we put in trying to do this. But that goes back to why we're doing it. I mean, right now we're still doing. We love doing it. We love to perform. We're trying to progress and grow, and we would love to be able to make a living from it. And maybe if we went individually, I'm sure we probably could. But as a group, as a band, for us all to be able to make a living from it at once, we haven't gotten to that point yet. But we have seen a drastic growth in the amount of income we're able to earn, based on the work that we've been putting in, performing wise, but we're still waiting to see when we get to that point where we can say that we can make a living off of this. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel you on that one. What about you, Mandela?
I've had a couple moments where I got like one was I've gotten some really nice royalty payments before the pandemic. Just off some music I worked with one of my engineers that I work with, the homie Craig Levy. And we've gotten some royalty payments that have been nice. But I would say the biggest payment I ever got that was nice, and I was like, oh, if I could figure out a way to do this consistently, I could do it. I got like 3,000 up at my alma mater, New Paltz, for I think that was Wale. I think it was Wale. I got like a nice amount of money to open up for Wale. Um, so yeah, so that was probably like one of the were a real cool moment. That was a long time ago those days. But every once in the blue, I get these little spurts here and there. And but the thing is, there's so much more money that goes into the music. And so I think really what my mindset has been now is like, okay, so we know we can make some money off of this the here and there, but how do we make money in other areas like merch and song features and things of that nature? And where do we put our money at? Where do we put our money at? That's important. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, as an artist, you could just spend your money willy nilly and not be like, and you could have spent that $500, $600 on a feature that's gonna put your profile all the way up here, or a video that's gonna put your profile up here. So there's that aspect here.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, everybody. Also, we just added Kiana Major. She's coming from Miami, joining us, and thank you, Kiana. She's a singer songwriter herself. And also, I just want to do a plug. Me and Apache, I co-host with him. We do a Soul Motif Thursdays. It's a virtual open mic, and that's how I met Kiana Major. She's amazing. She joins just about every week from Miami, even though Miami's open, and she has live gigs all the time.
Yes.
So Kiana, I actually, we were just sharing, and thank you for joining. We were just sharing actually if there were any moments in your life when it came to your creative world and arts where you've made a substantial amount of money, or just something has happened from it, like exposure, that you're like, oh yeah, I can really do this. If there's any moments, and we were just expressing and sharing those specific moments.
Yeah, I've been listening to all of you guys, and I'm so happy to be here. You guys are way too cool and way too awesome for giving me these opportunities. Um, for me, a big moment is entering the grant world. Like when I got into the grant world and they funded my performances and they funded like my recording projects, it was I don't know, it was phenomenal. I got a chance to do really big shows, and it was all paid for by like grant subsidiaries. That's pretty awesome for me. It's money that's out there, and all you have to do is apply for it, and it allows you to do what you want to do.
Thank you for that advice, because I think some artists know that, but I don't think a lot of artists know that. And also people get into their niches in their head, like, well, I mean, they say this type of artist, but they're not going to want to fund me. So people get into their heads about like, oh, they're not going to want to fund hip hop. They're not going to want to fund, when they really just should just apply. And I think that is one of the things.
Because I mean, we're all artists,
Yeah.
We just have to definitely have to talk about what makes our art unique, and why does it mean something to us, and why should it mean something to other people.
Yeah, and if I can just follow up on that, that is something I completely forgot about. She is exactly right, because we had our first opportunity to do something with regards to a grant at the Brooklyn Boathouse during the pandemic towards the end. And, so they were like, okay, well, this is our budget. And I was like this. I was like, what? And when we talk about, you go perform places, your big question, do they have a back line? What's the setup? What's this? What's that? So they had everything top notch, like it was like a candy store. What amp do you need? We sent them a rider, a stage plot, and told them what we needed, how we needed it. And it was like a freaking kid in the candy store. We need these amps, and we got a choice between a Marshall, a Fender, a Vox. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. And it was all with grant money. And like Kiana said, they have this money, it's available, and they want to give it away. And it was great. So that is my support.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that too,
Yeah.
like applying and stuff. And maybe I'll like send an email blast out after this, later this week, about some opportunities for people to apply in New York, because I know there's plenty of opportunities in New York, and they have like grants for 20,000 for just one artist, if you know what I mean. But I never knew the parameters too, because sometimes there might be some parameters with the funds, but to be honest, they all work within your own bounds, it seems, because the parameters are just like, you have to use this for your music, and that's fine.
Maybe we can research some grant writers if we can get it, to help because I don't know how to write a grant. I mean, you can do the application, but I know it's really competitive, and you got to kind of come correct. But I'm sorry, Precious, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother.
Oh no, it's okay. I read one book on it years ago when I was interested in going down that road, and I used to have and I still feel this way. I used to have like sort of an issue with grants, because where I was when I first discovered them was probably more than 10 years ago, and I was, young artist in New York, and I was broke. I was so broke, and I was so, what I mean, a grant, if you get it, I don't know if it's changed, but back in those days, you might wait 12 to 18 months if you get the money to receive it. And so I remember I did a tour around the United States about 10 years ago, performing Shakespeare in the street. Like I rode my bicycle around the country and performed Shakespeare in the street, and I needed a couple grand to get that going. And people were like, why don't you write a grant? But to me at the time, I was like 27 or 28 years old, and I just happened to be in a moment where I could go do that. You can't, my parents are from Haiti. We don't have any money. I don't really have any support. I can't just plan out, okay, in 18 months I can go do it. It's like, if I have the opening now, I got to do it now, And so that helped me like foster a resentment for the grant world, because it didn't seem like it was for people like us, not because of the kind of work that I made, but because like I didn't have an MFA, I didn't come from a wealthy family, I didn't come from an infrastructure that would support me as I write the grant, which is a very involved. You can't skimp. It's a very involved process to write for a grant, and then to wait for that process and wait for the money. Even if you are awarded it, you know, it's like you have to be in a position where I'm there now, where I can plan 18 months in advance. But when I was 26, 27, 28 in New York and broke, I wasn't in that place. And that's when probably I could have really used it. And it really bothered me that
I think
that's
like
definitely something that they don't share with you. I have the privilege to, because I'm a live sound engineer. I'm an A1 tech, so I worked in the theater world. And when they would do their end of season parties, I would have an opportunity to talk to some of the grant writers and talk to some of the philanthropists who would be giving out the grants. And they said, yeah, it would take a while for you to get the money, but as long as you have to apply for a bunch of grants at once. So even though the money might not come in 18 months, there's another grant that'll come in next week, and there's another grant that'll come in that following month. So you have to like compile it, I found. And like you can get multiple grants on top of grants. And actually the more grants that you're awarded, the more grants that they're going to award you. It's a interlinking circle of like them giving money to people that they've already given money to. And it does take a lot of planning. It takes a lot of budgeting, and it does take a lot of time writing those proposals. But as long as you as long as you know your artistry and you know your project, and you have a very a budget plan down to what Fender amp, what great picks you're buying, what strings you're getting for the performance, what lighting person you're gonna hire. It takes a lot of thought. It takes definitely a lot of like forethought and planning to get to live off of grants, because they have grants. Yeah, they have grants that you can get 2 years from now. They have grants that you can get like I said, like a week from now. You just always have to stay up to date on all the grants that are out. When grant season hits, I usually just apply for like 10 or 12 a week.
See, I wonder, are there two different types of situations? Because I know you can do grant writing, right? You can apply for a grant, write a proposal, but there are also, like the one we were involved in, there are also philanthropic companies who have grant money, and all it is an application. So if you are accepted for that, we got paid after the event was over. We got our check. We didn't have to wait for anything like that. But if you're writing grants and proposals, like trying to get grants for, I guess, specific things like an amp or things that you're going to need, an itemized list, maybe that's a different type of grant process. I don't know, because we hooked up. There are tons of organizations in the city, different organizations that have this grant money available for artists specifically. You just have to apply for it. It's very competitive. But once you are awarded or accepted into that grant program, I mean, we got paid when the event was done, You do your W-9 or whatever, and you get paid right after. So we didn't have to wait at all.
In that circumstance, like the grant money was given to whatever organization paid you, because it's their job, it's in their contract to pay artists. So that's what they have to do with the money, and they can give it to you as soon as they want. Mm-hmm. And if you're writing grants from like the county or the government or whatever, then you have to wait until they okay it, and all the the corporate art world bureaucracy. You have to wait for it, but they'll give it to you eventually.
I neglected to say I just won a grant.
Oh, congratulations!
Congratulations!
Thank you. Me and my collaborator Jolie Tong, we're working on a project in Staten Island coming up, and so we applied for a grant way back in January. And maybe even before that, we applied a while ago, and then just heard back recently that we got the money. So now we're scrambling, trying to put this project together. But that was like, Jolie and I have been working together for a long time, but this is the first time both of us are in a position where it's like, okay, cool. This money is not going to make or break us. It will help us to do this project, but we can't do the project. We're okay. I was referring to times where like, oh, grant money would help me stay alive and have rice and beans to eat or something. You know.
No, thank you for sharing. And I don't know, Della, I didn't want to cut you off if you were about to say something.
No, I wasn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. No, but thanks everybody for the input about grants, and that actually was a great light bulb in my head, Q, because Kiana, because I completely forgot about it because I have applied in the past, but I have never been successful in that. But it doesn't mean that I couldn't have ever gotten it. I just kind of stopped applying. Probably as of 2 years ago, I applied for my last like artist grant. I haven't applied since because it does take a time, and you do have to, draft a budget and be very concise about what your expenditure. And all in my mind the whole time when I would apply for grants, I just kept thinking about, instead of the budget part, I kept thinking, what about the money I just get to keep to live and to say that like I'm living off of my art, rather than like I have this money but I can't use it to go buy toilet paper or brush my teeth or go buy a good meal. I have to use it to put back into my art. So how am I living?
Well, I included that in my artist fee.
Oh, so the thing is you have to include that in your
Yeah, you have
artist
to
fee.
include an artist fee to get like your payment for doing the project as an artist.
And I didn't know that. I didn't, yeah, that's, and
That's
the other thing I read about back when I was researching this is like, the thing about that game is those people are giving a lot of money out and they've probably done it a lot. So they're very discerning. So a lot of times people will try to squeeze, okay, I think I could kind of do this. And it's like, that's a waste of time because they're going to sniff you out and give that money to somebody who fits exactly what they're looking for. And there's so many grants out there. You may as well go and find somebody who's trying to pay out for exactly what you want to do and go all in there, because it's like, it's a lot of work to do for something that you may not fit when something that you fit exactly is out there, but it's time intensive. You got to be just willing to do that, just like that tedious work.
That is true. It's a tedious hurt. Oh, Diggs, my sister said I can help with grant writing language. Well, thank you. Good to know. That is my blood sister, everybody. So, she is actually available because I'm connected to her. She says include your terms and conditions. Well, thank you, Diggs. Oh, okay. Well, with that being said, I also wanted to segue a little bit back towards like just the idea of money in our lives, right? And with that being, said, so the idea of money, right? We make money to live our lives. We want to do something more. We put money into it. We want to make money. We have to put money into it. So with that, I personally have these moments where, as a creative, I don't even know half the time if it's worth it, worth the money, even though I know that I know how much something will cost. But I find myself as a creative cutting corners, even to this day. And it is kind of heartbreaking, but I'm wondering on a specific level, do you guys still find yourself cutting corners, or have you found like some solutions? And also, I'm making more money than I was in my 20s, so I do have a vast like array of resources than I did, more than I did in my early 20s. But just wondering if you guys have any solutions, personal solutions that you've come through besides the grants, because the grants, they do work if you do nail it. And also contests, I think that's one thing that a lot of artists I see do, because contests always have the exposure and always have like some sort of monetary prize, but it kind of leads a lot of times to weird offskirts of drama, if that makes sense, for people caught up in the contest. And I can think about one specific person that we all know specifically, and it's like he's amazing, but the contest really did take a big toll on his creative part, you know what I mean, his creative world. And so I'm just wondering if you guys have had any personal successes with not cutting corners so much. And also, lastly, the question I do want to have brewing in the back of people's minds is just like, what do you what can you advise younger people who are artists and they just want to do their art full time but don't have any capital? So I'll leave it at that. I know I spoke a lot, but
What did you mean by
anybody?
cutting corners? What does that mean for you exactly, Kita?
So cutting corners, it's like I spend I think I have these different priorities. Like I look at Mandela. Mandela spends really good amount of money and you can see it on his visuals and on his production and everything, but I don't spend much money on my visuals. Like if you go to Mandela's page, he has a lot of visuals from years. And me, I have two videos, you know, one was from 2017, and then I have these, you know, some nicely captured live settings, you know, of videos, but not anything well produced besides the history video and a video prior to that that was like 2013 or 2012. So I find myself spending more because I on my live sound, because I'm so like, if my live sound isn't right, people aren't going to come back to see me anyway. So I got to get that together. And by the time I like do all that, I just never have enough for my visuals. I always feel like I never have enough for my visuals. And when I do, you know, or somebody I know will say, I can do this for you. And this has happened where they, you know, they've done a video and I just can't use it. But they have the money now, you know? And then I'm like, I still don't have these visuals. So that's what I mean by cutting corners. Like I don't have those, you know, like I want to spend just as much money on the visuals as I do the live sound, but the live sound to me is like a lot more important, but I know that this is still important. Like, you know, because I see it working for Mandela. Like these visuals, they work. You get a good one and you push it out. They really do work. So that's what I
Well,
mean by cutting corners.
I think even with that, sometimes like if visuals are important. Um, so I think for me the parallel would be you are focused on live sound because you work with a band and your sound has to be top notch. For me, that expense is different because that's more about getting the beat, getting the mix, paying for that, paying for the master. And I've been lucky enough to have a team of people that I work with that I can pay, and we can get stuff done for you know, for good amounts, right? So the visuals, I don't always spend a whole lot of money on. So sometimes I might get some visuals that like are just clean enough to work for my page, and then I might have something like the TRL video. But I think for a long time, I spent a lot of time not spending a nice amount of money on visuals and not being stern enough about what I want. And I think with visuals, if you're gonna spend your money on visuals, you got to make sure whoever's doing your visuals, you trust and you know them. So you're getting exactly what you want. And I've learned from experience the thing about money and music is you also got to make sure you get exactly what you want, right? So if you got to deal with somebody, they better be giving you exactly what you want, and don't be afraid to clash with them. Like, I don't like this. We got to fix it now. I need this type of camera. Know what type of cameras you want or what type of visuals. You need to look as clean as this. You know, there's people that'll do your visuals, and as long as it has a certain look, it'll work for you, right? Um, there's that, and then I also think, you know, if you don't spend money, if you spend more money on the sound of your music over the visuals, why not figure out a way to create visuals for when you're working in rehearsal? You know what I mean? A documentary, things like that. Like there's other ways to use your visuals. It doesn't have to just be for a song. It could be, you could do an in-studio performance because you have a band like a Tiny Desk and you can put your money into that, right? So there's stuff like there's different ways to do it. For me, I think that I've spent so much time cutting corners that now I'm like, I've seen the effect of not doing that. And cutting corners is not just financial, it's also mental, like being like, oh, I can't do this because of this. And then I never get the opportunity because I never tried it. And instead, now it's like, let me just ask the question, right? So that's also a big part of the conversation. I think I talk too much, but that's pretty much
No, it's fine.
That's
Yeah.
my angle on it. I think even with I, the most important thing to me is like figuring out how to maneuver your social media to benefit whatever you do, right? That's how you get the visuals, because then people might come out and just want to do stuff for you because they've seen you online so much and they think you're so consistent. I see people outside. I think I'd be lazy sometimes. I see people outside. They're like, "Yo, I see your page, man. You're so consistent." And then people will want to work with you because one of the things is like you got people that are straight out of school and that are amazing, maybe videographers, photographers, and are looking to work with people to build their portfolio. And they don't want to work with people that it's not going to do anything for them. So if they do some work for you and you don't do anything with it, they're going to feel discouraged. So they're going to look for artists that they see that are constantly putting themselves out there and figuring out ways to get in front of them. So I think that for me has been very helpful and kind of helped me to figure out where I want to allocate my money towards. And I'm still learning, by the way. So, yeah.
Thanks for sharing all that. That was definitely that was helpful for me on a specific level. And I'm, want to pass the mic here, Patchy or Precious, if there's, times where if you've cut the corners or you know what I mean, or had those moments.
You guys hearing that wind?
Yeah, I think it's probably from from his phone, so it's cool.
No, my fan. Yeah.
Check. Okay. Yeah, I was making sure I wasn't muted. So cutting corners. um, well, I like what Mandela said, man. I think cutting corners is not a bad thing. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's not a cheap thing. It's a empowerment thing, because cutting corners to me means, like Mandela touched on, is knowledge. You have to know. You have to learn to do things. You have to wear many hats doing this independent thing, right? So when it comes to visuals, um, if I don't have the money to hire a videography, I'm going to look for other angles, like he was mentioning. You have students, you have people that who maybe shoot video, but although you may know that person shoots video, you still have to be knowledgeable about the video process and about what you want. So you can't just say, I want it to look like that. You need to know why it looks like that, so you can communicate that to this person and determine whether they can accomplish that or not. I want this angle. I want this look. I want this lighting. I want this. I want that. If you're knowledgeable about that and you're able to communicate that, you can determine whether that person that you're cutting corners with or using to cut corners can achieve that. If they can't, then you find somebody who can. And if you can't find anyone who can, then you got to take a day from writing or playing one day, figure it out yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, and do the best that you can do it. And it's visuals are just visuals, as long as you're, in my opinion alone, you got good lighting and you got good sound. After that, it's about creativity on screen and your passion on the screen. So, what maybe I don't know what the idea of good visuals are. It doesn't mean a lot of money to spend on visuals. I guess what I'm saying, because you can shoot video or visual with a cell phone and still have it come out incredible, as long as your sound is good, your lighting is good, and your framing and all that is correct. Cutting corners from a sound point of view, as a band, I'm with you, Kita. That's you got to go. You have to. You can't do that. And if you can't afford a sound man or somebody to come by and engineer your sound, we got to figure out what we need. We got to figure out what works best for our sound. We got to figure out. You got to learn that stuff, and it takes away maybe from your art right there, but it's creativity in another art form. Like
Yeah.
Kiana's an engineer, sound engineer. It only helps us to learn a little bit about that ourselves, so we don't have to spend a lot of money to pay someone to do it. Or if we do pay someone to do it, we know we're knowledgeable about what we want and can give that direction. So it lessens the chances of it not coming out the way we want it to come out. So I guess it's all cutting corners to me, is just becoming knowledgeable yourself about these things.
Can I
So
piggyback real quick?
Yeah.
Sure.
Also, you just said something that's really dope, Apache, because that's also a part of it. I learned how to edit my own videos when I was doing freestyle videos, because I didn't want to have to always pay somebody. And it's really difficult. I learned a little bit of Photoshop. I learned how to use different apps to make my visuals on my page look better. So just stuff like that, like learning how to do certain things yourself is helpful as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of that, I just wanted to plug. I think I misspoke earlier about my visuals. Like I've had great visuals in the past because Apache has done them.
That's
The
what I'm saying. I'm like, nerd.
Kita P Music sessions, but I mean music videos, not necessarily
Yeah.
like
I'm just
those
kidding.
things. But
Yeah.
yes, I just meant like those music videos and those snapshots rather than those planned intimate forms, which I think Kita P Music sessions originated out of. But so yeah, and also I believe that you've learned that due to you just not able to always pay somebody to do that, so you probably took up, and I believe you took like there's free opportunities. There was the Brooklyn Academy of Music. I think they offered classes at one point on like video editing and stuff,
Yeah.
and you got to just be a part of a program, but it was free.
Yeah. Brick
And
TV. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
yeah, Brick TV. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah.
say Brooklyn Academy of
Yeah.
Music. Band Brick,
Yeah.
but that's that also makes me just reminisce about why I started playing the guitar. I love the guitar, I do, but I'm a singer first, and when I first moved to New York and started performing, I didn't know how to play the guitar. I didn't own a guitar, and I was linking up with musicians and I got some gigs and I was so excited, at cafes. And every time the person supporting me would just bail on me, wouldn't show up, and I would be singing. Yes, thank you, Ro, for the clarity. Bam and Brick are different. Yes, they are. For the for the clarity and stuff, but yeah, I they would just leave me there, and they wouldn't necessarily just leave me there. I couldn't pay them, and so I understood if they got a paid gig, they weren't going to show up for me. And so that would always happen, and I would find myself singing a cappella, and I just didn't like that, and I was like, I gotta figure out something. And so I used one of my first paychecks when I first moved here, to purchase a guitar under $100, and that was what I started with. And I just learned how to play through time. It was a struggle, but I learned how to play.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Precious, do you have anything to add? Because I'm gonna ask one final question because I don't want to keep this conversation long, but you guys have presented some solutions in this process, from grants into, actually putting in time just to learn a little bit about something. And I remember 2 years ago during Empire Festival, Music and Arts Festival was happening, and one of the people in the panel said, you don't, as an artist, as an independent artist, you don't have to be an expert at everything. You should be an expert at your craft, if it's singing or, like doing the music and whatever. But if you need to learn how to edit video, you should just know a little, enough to get you by, so that you know who you're working with. Like, that they're capable to do that, just like what Della and Apache were saying earlier. But that leads me to my last and final question. And once again, I just want to say thank you again for joining Apache, Kiana Major, Mandela Eskia, Precious Gorgeous. And yeah, it's just a one-off. It's very low capacity. And Precious, were you going to say something?
Oh yeah,
Okay, say something. Say
I have a
something.
lot to say about this.
All right.
I think just like I was saying before, that you can't take it with you. I'm very big on that. I'm also very big on, I live by that. And the other line I live by is, you get what you pay for. I personally believe without exception, you always get what you pay for. Um, and, um, and that can be anything. You might pay for something and might not know anything about it, and pay for the wrong thing and realize you don't need it. But I really always feel like, what's that? Is this phrase that I don't know how it goes, but it's like, you could try to save $1 and buy something that's not as good, but then you have to pay 3 times for it because you paid for it once, pay for it again, trying to, well, maybe this didn't work, and then you have to go back and buy the actual thing. You know what I mean? Because now you realize, oh, I should have got this thing to begin with. And I really, I have a lot of thoughts about this, but one of the big things you were saying, Kita, and this just occurred to me, and it's an extension of everything that Della said, which is like, if for you the sound of your band is most important, I'm thinking a lot about marketing and branding these days, really thinking and trying to learn about it. I would be making videos and photography that tells the story of like what I am is my live band. What I am is my live sound. I am my live experience. That's the most important part of my experience. I would be creating visuals that tell that story exclusively, because then whoever the people are and then finding ways to get that story to the people who would be most interested in it. So that would be whoever you get that aesthetic from, whatever artist you look up to, who you're emulating, or that's their ideal and that's where you got that from. Within their community is probably where your fans are, you know. And so I would, if I'm going to spend any money, I'm going to get the visuals that are going to help me tell the story of like everything for me is about my live sound and about my band and about this live experience that I'm going to give you. Why that's important to me, what that is, and why it's important to me. I would be making visuals that tell that story. Don't worry about anything else, because that's the thing that makes sense to you. That's the thing you can express, and that's the thing you're passionate about. I don't. That's just what came to me. But to me, I feel like everything that I've made and put money into, even if it didn't pay off in the moment, at some point it will, because I can, how do I put this? It's there and it's in my catalog. And when I do find the appropriate thing to point it toward, the thing that I have is exactly what I wanted. You know what I mean? I made exactly the thing I wanted. And sometimes that's about saving money. Sometimes that's about paring down. Instead of making 3 things, I can only make 1. Instead of making 5 things, I can only make 3. You know what I mean? And just trying to make sure what you strike true. It's a precision hit, but I'm all about like, you know, I'm all about go for it. Once you feel like you have the thing that you want, go for it, because it'll pay off then when you have something that's like, wow, I can now use this in this way. I'm trying to think of
I hear you, man.
one example of that, but it's not quite coming to me right now. But no, I don't have a good example.
It's cool. It's cool. But we're getting close to the hour, so I actually want to just end with a final question. We did have some solutions, and I just want to say thank you again for tuning in, to everybody who commented, and for you guys for coming through. And some plugs before my final question. We have Precious Gorgeous, and he has his website there where you can find everything about him, who he is, his social security number, what he does. It's all there on that webpage. Okay. And then we got Mandela Esquia, and I believe his website is just that, oneword.com. Am I right? You're on mute.
People should just follow my Instagram at Black Zeus. I'll put it in the chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we got that. I can just put the little brand thing up. Hold on. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There we go. At Black Zeus. And then we got Apache.
Yes.
And also, wait, Mandela Esquia, he just released a new song, TRL. There's visuals for it, really good. So everybody check that out on his page. You can check him out on social media. And he doesn't have his social security number up, but you could ask him about it. Apache, and he is amazing. He's the one who actually helped with this platform, because I don't have a StreamYard. He does, and we partners on Thursday nights. So Motif, his brainchild, and he is Apache of the Apache Brown Band. And you could tell them where we can find you.
You can find us at ApacheBrownBand.com, on IG, and on Spotify, man. Please pre-save our new single coming out June 10th. This whole pre-save is like a big thing now. But if you guys can pre-save it, hit us up on Spotify. We have a new single coming out June 10th, and yeah, we'll be out in these streets performing soon. Next month we start. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so now one final question, and then we could just hit the road, Jack. So I was gonna actually ask a different question, but this one, it relates to money and artistry, and I'm still researching it, but the research I have done, it makes me wary, and I'm probably never going to do it. It is, NFTs. I don't know if you guys have heard of NFTs when it comes to artists, but they're non fungible tokens, and you have to buy cryptocurrency to even take part in it. And there's different sites that you can post your work, and it's mainly the main people I've seen that made a ton of money from this as art are people who already have a following, like Nas. Like, he's made millions, but basically it just gives, like, each thing is individualized, and so, like, they're the one owner of this piece of art, like, say it's barcoded, but they're the one, but it only lies in the digital space. And I personally am so confused because I keep getting, like, on my feed these ads like artists should do NFTs, they're making money, and everything I research is like they are not making money. It's just a select few, and it's more for memorabilia, like baseball cards and stuff like that. People are really making money. So I just wanted to get your thoughts randomly about just these different things that come up time to time. Artists should do this to make money. Artists should, put their stuff all on Tidal to make money. They should, take it off Tidal or put it on, like, I've heard different things, like what people should do. And I just want to know if you guys heard about NFTs, non-fungible tokens, if it interests you, and also, how you feel about things when they just come down the pipeline like that at us, like a new way of making money through art, and if it, interests you at all. And that's it.
I don't mind starting. I don't know too much about NFTs. Like, I know a little bit. I've heard about them. Had some conversations with some friends about how that could be utilized. I do feel like it's definitely really more for, like, more established artists. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know who's got a whole lot of money that's gonna buy the Mandela Eskia NFT, but I'm not sure. There's some people in the space that like my stuff and might, give me some money for an NFT. So it's more. I would have to do more research to figure out what my NFT would be, what I would sell. But I would say don't cross it off. You know what I mean? It might not be a whole lot of money, but it might be some form of money, and it might be something that maybe gains more popularity and capital as you go along, as you build your career, and as you, like, become KitaP the business, which I'm sure you are already. But you know what I mean? Like, maybe it grows bigger, and then maybe that NFT that you did 5 years ago is now worth X amount. So I don't know. I think it's
That's true.
I think it's an interesting space. I don't really know if I got the capacity to be focused on it, but it is something I've been thinking about. I think as artists, like, it doesn't hurt to go into those spaces if you can. You know what I mean? So,
Well, thanks for that, because I
but
really
yeah,
have
like you
written
said,
it
like, I
off.
don't think.
But I will give it a try. I will look at more into it because it is still
I don't know.
intriguing.
I know I feel you because it is true. It's like, yeah, they're gonna be $1 but
Oh, I hear you. Yeah, you were breaking up a bit, but we heard you. But does anybody else have anything to add about NFTs? And
Um,
No, go ahead. Well, NFTs, I've been trying to do a little bit of research on it myself, and it's still very confusing. I've tried to actually mint. I tried to mint a domain name just to try to experiment with it, but because I heard that was a thing. Yeah. But I think it's something that, like Mandela said, I don't think it's something we should rule out. I think it's something in all of these forms of different ways to make money. I look at them all because it's got to be a better way, in my opinion, than giving Spotify and all these streaming companies all the money. I'm trying to figure out with our single, man, do we leave it on stream or do we let people buy it directly from the website? Because what's more important? Is it these pre-saves, is it these streams, or is it getting paid directly from as many people as you can? So I get there's a balance, I guess, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know, except if you're a big artist, are you making money from Spotify, or is a regular independent artist making any money from Spotify? I don't know. Is a regular independent artist making money from NFTs? I don't think so. I've seen a lot of conflicts about, people who sold songs on NFTs. By the time they paid the listing fees, the minting fees,
yes,
and all these fees, that you're barely breaking even from the money that you're making. So is it worth it? Yeah, I don't know. Is it? But it's definitely something I wouldn't rule out. In any way, new way that comes down to that we can try and make money, I'm going to investigate it. And if I think that is worthy a little bit, I'm going to give it a try if I can. But I have not tried it with the music in regards to NFT yet. And as far as the domain name thing, I don't even know what happened to that. I just got confused and lost. So maybe I'll go back and revisit it. I don't know.
Well, at least you tried it. I didn't even try, but I did read about the costs, like the minting and
Yeah.
actually getting on a site and being on a waiting list and
Yeah.
all that. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna write it off anymore, guys. I'm gonna do a little bit more research and just hopefully someone near to me does it and I can watch them go through the process. But Precious, I don't know if you have anything to add.
I got a bunch of thoughts. In the my favorite line, I think, not my favorite line, but one of my favorite lines in the 1989 Batman movie is the Joker says to the guy, "Hey Eckhart, think about the future." And my biggest fear as I'm getting older and as an artist is to be afraid of the future, is for things to change, and because I'm getting older and things are moving, the world will move faster for me because I'm getting older, is to start to be afraid and recoil and go like, I used to bang on a stick, or I don't know, I don't want to be that. I want to continue to be adventurous and learn about things. And, I remember years ago hearing about some rapper in California who I thought had a stupid name. And he was like, I heard he was selling his album for $100 a piece. And I was like, who the hell is what? Who cares about this guy? Who's going to buy his album? And he made $100,000. And that guy's name is Nipsey Hussle, and I feel like I'm not into stunts or gimmicks, but I am into learning about things and trying to think hard about how is there utility to them? Is there a way that they fit into my story? And taking risks and taking chances. Here's the third corny a phrase that I use: bet small, win small; bet big, win big. I really feel like if I have the opportunity, I'm gonna take a bet, because if I lose everything, as long as my legs work and I can breathe, I can make it back. But if I'm not dead. But then what if I don't lose? What if the opposite happens? You know what I mean? So I'm not playing the lottery. I'm not, I'm betting on hard work and things that I believe in, and I'm going to try to, I'm not going to be I'm not going to say I'm not going to be reckless. I will be reckless, but I'm not going to just do things based on, I'm not trying to win the lottery. I'm saying I'm going to make an investment in this thing because I believe in it, and I'll see what happens. So yeah, and it's just that I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to be a person who's stuck in their ways. I want to at least learn about things that are new. I want to assume that because I'm getting older, things that are new will scare me and push against that. That's just the way getting older is. The world starts to move faster, and things that are new will scare us. But the people who remain relevant for a long time, they are constantly going like, what's this? What's this about? Oh, okay. All right. Interesting. All right. Let's see how this applies to me. That's why I feel like we're still talking about Quincy Jones. That's why at 50 years old, Jay-Z is still viable somehow as a rapper. That's why, the big person who I feel like actually keeps me open about NFTs is Swiss Beats, because Swiss Beats, before all this happened, he created the Versus space, but even before that, he was doing this no commissions thing where he was trying to help fine artists and visual artists get money for their work. And the NFT, I think, is like there's an analog to the fine arts world, where this encryption means like it almost makes it as valid as like this is an original Monet. There's copies of the Monet, but this is an original, and it's worth that because all of these hundreds of computers are making sure that it's very easy to know that this is the original. So it's like, yeah, that fine art thing, and depending on how you feel about that, it's, it could be, maybe it's not NFTs, maybe it's something else, but I think it can be understood, and if you have the capacity to understand it, look into it. Maybe it is something that can work for you. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something else. But I'm scared of. I'm fine with getting older, but I'm scared of getting old.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thanks for that. That was awesome. It's so personable. I think that's the better term here. And it's also great to see you guys since I don't see you guys in person. And I only see you guys through the screens. But this is
Kita
great. I get
Pizza,
to
we
see
miss
you.
you. Kita
Yeah, I
Pizza.
miss you guys too. And I just want to stay connected. So this was my way of doing so, and also kind of just answering some questions for myself and making some headway on a personal level. So I appreciate you guys. I'm going to be back here again on Soul Motif on Thursdays at 8 p.m. And it'll be Soul Motif streamed live on the Soul Motif YouTube. And once again, we have Precious and Mandela, Eskia, and we have Apache and Mandela and Precious. They're part of Black God Pantheon. This is the collective, and they're doing big things with that. But that is the conglomerate that holds a lot of the greatness that is Mandela and Precious, Anson and Branson and Ashley, Kita P. So I don't know why I kept doing that. But yeah, I appreciate you guys, and thank you everybody who joined in to watch. And like I said, this is the KitaPMusic sessions, not the original. It's just a one-off. So I may have another idea in a month. I may not, and I may continue with this and talk about money. But money talks, and let's get paid. And lastly, last but not least, I'm doing a little special on my website. I have to figure out how to organize it, but yeah, it was. This discussion has been brought to you by my apparel site, which is shop.kitapmusic.com, and I have 15% off of everything that is titled classic in parentheses on the site. There's 15% off through May 31st, so it's like a Labor Day sale. I mean, no, a Memorial Day sale. Anyway, I appreciate you both, and Mandela, who just popped off. But yeah, any final words, or we could just say peace.
Nah, Kita, thank you. I appreciate the platform. Thank you very much. And we miss you too, and I'll see you Thursday. Shouts out to you, Precious, man. Long time. Hopefully we'll see each other again soon in the flesh. And, keep us posted on what you got going on so I can definitely support. And we all can.
Absolutely, I will. I appreciate you guys both.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys have a wonderful Sunday. And
peace.
All right now.